Every new parent hears the same advice. You'll learn to tell the difference between their cries. And most parents smile politely while thinking, how? They all sound like crying to me. Here's the thing, that advice is actually true. You do learn, but no one tells you what you're actually learning to listen for, which makes the early weeks feel like guesswork when they don't have to be. Your baby's cries are not random. They're not just loud and louder. There are patterns in the pitch, the rhythm, the quality, and the body language that goes with them. And once you know what to look for, you start to hear the difference before you even think about it. Today, we're going to go through the main types of cries, what each one sounds like, what the body is usually doing at the same time, and what your baby is actually trying to tell you. This doesn't make you a perfect parent. It makes you a more fluent one. 1. The hunger cry. Rhythmic, repetitive, and building. The hunger cry is usually the first one parents learn to identify because it has the most distinctive rhythm. It tends to start low, a few short cries with pauses in between. Then it builds. It becomes more rhythmic, a pattern that repeats itself with a consistent beat. Cry, pause, cry, pause, cry, cry, cry. As time passes and hunger increases, the rhythm speeds up and the volume goes up. What the body is doing at the same time, a hungry baby often does what's called rooting, turning their head side to side, opening their mouth, bringing their hands toward their mouth. They might be sucking on their fist. Their hands are often clenched. Their head may be moving toward your chest or toward anything that comes close to your face. The key word for the hunger cry is rhythmic. It has a pulse to it, a pattern. It isn't chaotic. What to do? Offer a feed. If they accept it eagerly, you had your answer. If they refuse, take the hunger cry off the list and look at the others. The tired cry, whiny, drawn out, and combined with yawning. Tired crying is different in texture from hunger crying. It's less rhythmic and more whiny, a quality that's hard to describe but easy to recognize once you've heard it. It tends to be lower in pitch, almost nasal, and sounds more like prolonged complaint than urgent demand. Many parents describe it as fussier rather than crying. What the body is doing at the same time. A tired baby often has glassy or slightly unfocused eyes. They may yawn repeatedly. They might rub their eyes or ears, not because anything hurts, but because it's a sensory self-regulation behavior. They often lose interest in things that were interesting to them a few minutes ago. They turn away from stimulation. Their body becomes either limp and heavy or rigid with irritability. The key is, they usually had a period of being awake, and now it's been a while. Looking at the clock can actually help here. If they've been up for more than 60 to 90 minutes as a young baby, tired is a reasonable first guess. What to do? Reduce stimulation, dim the environment, move toward a sleep routine. Rocking, feeding, skin contact, a quiet room. The more you try to engage and entertain a tired baby, the worse it usually gets. 3. The pain cry, sudden, sharp, and high-pitched. This one is different in quality from everything else, and most parents feel it before they analyze it. A pain cry tends to start suddenly, not building gradually, but spiking quickly to high intensity. It's typically high-pitched, almost shrieking in quality. It sounds urgent in a way that is qualitatively different from hunger or tiredness. Many parents describe feeling their own body tense or their heart rate rise when they hear it. That reaction is biological. High-pitched infant cries trigger stress responses in caregiving adults on purpose. Pain cries are often followed by a brief silence, as if the baby is catching after the initial intensity, and then another sharp cry. What the body is doing at the same time. A baby in pain often draws their legs up toward their belly, which can signal gas or stomach discomfort. They may arch their back. Their fists may clench very tight. Their face is usually deeply scrunched. Their whole body may go tense and rigid. Common causes. Gas or digestive discomfort, which is extremely common in the early months. The sharp sensation of a hunger that has gone past the early stage. The shock of a sudden temperature change. A hair wrapped around a finger or toe. Always worth checking. What to do? Check the obvious physical things first. Check temperature. Check for anything on their skin or fingers. Check if gas relief, gentle leg cycling, tummy massage, brings any change. If pain crying is frequent, prolonged, and doesn't respond to anything, it's worth talking to a pediatrician. 4. The overstimulation or overwhelm cry, escalating, inconsolable feeling, and often late. This cry often confuses parents the most because it doesn't respond to the usual fixes. You've fed them, changed them, checked for pain, and nothing is working. The overstimulation cry tends to build through the day. By evening, what many parents call the witching hour, it reaches a peak. The baby seems inconsolable. Nothing works. They don't want food. They resist being put down. They resist being held. They can't settle. What's happening is that the baby's nervous system has hit its processing limit. All the input of the day, faces, sounds, lights, being held in different ways by different people, all the new experiences, has filled the bucket. The cry is the bucket overflowing. What the body is doing at the same time. The baby often turns their head away from stimulation. They may arch back. They may have trouble sustaining eye contact. Sometimes they seem to want contact and then immediately resist it. What to do? Less, not more. Dim the room, reduce voices, take them away from crowds, one calm person. Slow, repetitive, predictable movement. Skin to skin if they'll accept it. White noise that masks other sounds. Don't try to engage or entertain. That's what caused the problem. Just hold the space and let the system come down. It takes time. This is the cry that requires the most patience. 5. The discomfort cry, intermittent, variable, and attention-seeking. This one sits between pain and complaint. It's not the sharp spike of true pain, but it's not the rhythmic build of hunger either. It tends to come in waves, louder, then quieter, then louder again. It has a variable quality, as if the baby isn't sure how bad it is themselves. Common causes: minor gas that isn't severe but is uncomfortable, a position that isn't quite right, a tag in a one side rubbing against skin, temperature being slightly off in either direction, needing a position change after being in one place too long. What the body is doing. The baby may be somewhat easy to distract briefly, which distinguishes discomfort from more urgent crying. They may have moments where they seem to settle and then start up again. They're not in a continuous state of distress, but they keep cycling back to it. What to do? A systematic check. Change positions. Check clothing for anything rubbing. Check temperature. Try feeding even if it hasn't been long. Burp them. Try gentle tummy massage. Often the source is small and the fix is quick, but you have to go through the checklist to find it. 6. The I need contact cry. Soft, escalating, and almost conversational. This is a cry that some parents feel guilty about because the solution is simply picking the baby up and staying with them. No food needed, no diaper to change, no pain to relieve, just presence. This cry often starts very soft, almost like a vocalization, a fussing that could go either way. If ignored, it builds. If responded to, it stops quickly and the baby becomes alert and calm. What the body is doing. The baby may make eye contact with whoever is in the room. They may reach with their arms slightly. They're not curled in pain. They're oriented outward, toward you. What to do? Pick them up. Hold them. This is a completely legitimate need, especially in the early months. The worry that responding to this cry will spoil the baby or teach them bad habits is not supported by developmental research. In fact, the opposite is true. Consistent, prompt responses to a baby's cries in the early months are associated with less fussiness and more secure attachment over time, not more demanding behavior. You cannot teach a newborn to be manipulative by meeting their need for contact. What you teach them over hundreds of interactions is whether their signals work, whether the world responds, whether they are heard. When you respond to this cry, you're not being weak or being manipulated. You're building the foundation of trust. 7. How to actually get better at reading cries. Faster. The key isn't to memorize a list and run through it in your head every time your baby cries. The key is to watch what the body is doing at the same time as the cry. Cry plus rooting and sucking hand. Hunger. Cry plus glazed eyes and turning away, tired. Cry plus sudden onset, high pitch and drawn up legs, pain or gas. Cry late in the day, inconsolable feeling, arching away from everything, overstimulation. Cry that comes in waves and responds briefly to distraction, discomfort. Cry that stops the moment you pick them up and hold them close, contact need. And there's one more thing that speeds up learning faster than any guide: time and attention. The parents who learn their baby's cries fastest are not the most experienced parents or the most educated parents. They're the ones who pay attention, who sit with the baby when they're calm and notice what their calm state looks like, who watch what happens right before crying starts, the pre-cry signals that come before the sound. Your baby is communicating constantly. The cry is the last resort, not the first signal. Learn the signals before the cry and you'll be answering questions before they're asked. Subscribe if you want to keep understanding your baby's language, from the body signals before crying to the expressions they make in sleep to the way they show you they trust you. It's all a conversation. Let's learn it together.